In the last lecture, we saw the virus, the working of virus. So, now once you know how a virus performs, in this lecture, you will see the different types of viruses. But before that, we will see the indications of virus attacks. So, what are the indications of a virus attack? Well, computer beeps with no display, then drive label automatically changes. Or the most common is a constant pop-up window appears on your screen. Well, if the system acts in an unprecedented manner, you can suspect a virus attack. However, not all glitches can be attributed to virus attacks due to misconfigurations or the hardware failure when the system can act abnormally. But that does not mean that every abnormal behavior type is a virus. Well, suspicious hard drive activity or freezing of browser window suddenly can also be an indication of a virus attack. As a security expert, you must be able to tell why this is causing a virus attack. What are the indications of a virus attack? Suppose a victim comes to you and tells you that this is happening. You should be able to identify which attack is going on, which type of virus has been affected that victim's computer. Lack of storage space can also be an indication of virus attack. Since the virus replicates itself, it eats up a lot of space on your hard drive. Now, how does a computer get infected by virus? What is the type of the propagation of a virus? When a user accepts files and downloads without checking properly from the source. Security experts always tell you to check the hashes or download the files only from the legitimate source. Then, opening infected email attachments, that is, phishing, or installing pirated softwares is one of the most important way of propagating a virus. Never download pirated softwares. Security experts always tell the novice learners that it is always better to pay the price for the software rather than paying thousands of dollars to recover the data. Then not updating and not installing new versions of plugins, using portable medias, clicking malicious online ads, connecting to untrusted networks are some of the ways in which a computer can get infected by viruses. Now, let us see one by one what are the types of viruses. Make sure you closely listen to this video because as a certified professional or as a cybersecurity enthusiast, you must be able to tell the difference between two viruses. Because if anyone comes at you telling the cause or what is happening, you can't just simply say that it's a virus. You have to be specific. Such questions are asked during interviews because clearing these fundamentals is more important than running the tools. Anyone can run the tools, but it is more important to know the concepts behind these tools. So, let us start with the first type of virus, that is system and file virus. Boot sector virus moves MBR, that is master boot record, to another location on the hard drive and copies itself to the original location of the master boot record. This is known as the system or the boot sector virus. So what it does is this virus copies the MBR to some random location, and MBR location is very important for a system. And what this virus does is that this virus copies itself into the main boot location so that it gets replicate itself. This is the main function of a boot sector virus. The next is the file virus. File viruses infect files which are executed or interpreted in the system, such as COM, EXE, SRVs, OVL, OBJ, MNU, and BAT files. File viruses can either be direct action or memory resident. The next type is the multipartite and macroviruses. Multi-parted viruses infect the system boot sector and executable files at the same time. So, see how destructible viruses are. Macroviruses infect the files created from Microsoft Word or Excel. So, whenever an Excel file is corrupt, or if you observe that Excel file is behaving abnormally, you can guess that it may be a macrovirus. Most macroviruses are written using macro language, that is Visual Basic for Applications, VBA. Macroviruses infect templates or convert infected documents into template files while maintaining the appearance of ordinary document files. The next is cluster and stealth viruses. Cluster viruses modify directory table entries so that it points users or system processes to the virus code instead of the actual program. Cluster viruses will launch itself first when any program in the computer system is started. Stealth virus, or also known as tunneling virus. Tunneling viruses evade the antivirus software by intercepting its request to the operating system. This virus can hide itself by intercepting the antivirus software's request to read the file and passing the request to the virus instead of the operating system. Next is the encryption virus. This type of virus uses simple encryption to encipher the code. The virus is encrypted with a different key for each infected file. Polymorphic virus. A polymorphic code is a code that mutates while keeping the original algorithm intact. So, a well-written polymorphic virus therefore has no parts that stay the same on the same infection. So you can see this virus gets replicated over and over the time. So you can see how dangerous it is. The next is metamorphic virus. I haven't listed the metamorphic viruses, but I would like to give a short description. Metamorphic viruses rewrite themselves completely each time they are to infect a new executable. So, from the description itself, these viruses are dangerous. Email viruses are the types of viruses which are commonly found into email attachments that infect PCs. File extension viruses are the viruses which are inside a file extension. For example, there is a file known as file.php.txt. The original file is a PHP file, but it is hidden inside a .txt file. So, this is how these viruses play an important role, and as a security student, you must be able to distinguish between these viruses. If you have interest, we have provided some links so that you can go through those links, or even you can go on Google and search for the types of viruses. What are the virus detection methods? Now, in order to identify which virus has been affected the system, it is important to detect those viruses. There are 5 steps in detecting a virus. The first is scanning. Once a virus has been detected, it is possible to write scanning programs that look for signature string characteristics of the virus. The next is integrity checking. Integrity checking products work by reading the entire disk, recording integrity data, then acts as a signature. Next is interception. The interceptor monitors the operating system requests that are written to the disk. Code execution or code emulation. In code emulation techniques, the antivirus executes the malicious code inside a virtual machine to simulate the CPU and memory activities. Therefore, from this, the antivirus software or the company who has launched the antivirus can get an idea of how a virus works. Basically, a reverse engineering task. Then last one is heuristic analysis. Heuristic analysis can be static or dynamic. In static analysis, the antivirus analyzes the file format and code structure to determine if the code is viral.